Okay, we're back for seconds, guys.
To be able to get it to
Oh, what's that with the sound?
okay. We're back to being live again. I do not understand the technical issues here, but all right. But it seems now every time we go to go live, the computer or YouTube does not recognize my microphone, and I have to go through this whole big circus act just to be able to get it to do what it's supposed to every time. Anyways, we're here. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Lord. All right.
Hey, Di. Hi, Phil. I don't know why I dropped out.
For starters, it is Monday, April 28th, 7:19 p.m. That's 1928 for all of you civilians out there. We're going to go over some of the news that's happening, some of the things that I think you may want to be paying attention to. And we'll end it with crying out to the Lord. So, here in just a couple days, we have our Shoot, Move, Communicate course that's happening in Telco Plains. And then we'll be taking a break for a minute from training, coming back, reassessing how we want to plan out the rest of the year. Please be paying attention to the Vindicta Solutions website if you want to look into further training. I know many of you have reached out to me recently about upcoming training. Check the website, check our YouTube channels, both American Vindicta and Vindicta Solutions. We'll be updating from there. A lot of heat is going on in Pakistan and India. I'll read to you the latest thing that was just put out. Reason why this matters is because both of these are nuclear powers. One is our enemy. One likes to harbor our enemies. So let's hear from them. By the way, I do not speak these languages, so I'm going to butcher every single person's name. Whatever. Pakistan will be divided into 4 parts by 2025. The one of the premiers, Nishikant Dubey, said that he's a member of India's parliament, said that Pakistan will cease to exist as a country by the end of 2025. We will get back the part of Kashmir that Pakistan occupied. In addition, Pakistan will be divided into separate countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will ensure of this. Earlier in Islamabad, reported that war was inevitable and called for restraining from using nuclear weapons. Both India and Pakistan have been bringing in reserves of military attachments. So
I think it's looking more like the 4th Reich, Phil.
Their ground forces, their surface-to-air missile forces, a lot of tracked units, a lot of troop carrier units. I saw one where they're a whole train full of artillery units are being brought in, self-propelled artillery. So they've been having sporadic clashes erupting here and there throughout these areas where they are legitimately shooting at each other. Clashes that were recently involving artillery between India and Pakistan forces have been reported in the Lipa Valley. That's the area along the current line of control. The line of control is a demarcation line between India and Pakistan. Running through the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, the de facto border between the two countries. The clouds of war are gathering over the region, with tensions between Pakistan and India reaching an alarming level. A war could potentially break out between the two countries within the next 2 to 4 days. So within the next 48 to 96 hours, open source intel that is all over right now is saying that there's a very high likely chance war is going to kick off. Now, this one is coming from Khawaja Asif, who is Pakistan's defense minister. And he's the one who said a war could potentially break out within the next 48 to 96 hours. If hostilities erupt, Pakistan would respond with a full force. Many voices within India itself are questioning President Modi's intentions, suggesting that the incident was orchestrated for political gain. A couple things. For one, this area is friendly not just to America, India, but we do have assets. I mean, we used to have a big CIA compound that I'm pretty sure is still up and going in Pakistan. Russia is friendly with both Pakistan and also India.
Well, Phil, you know, Trump's what do they call it? A Jesuit. You know, Trump's a Jesuit.
So we'll see how this goes. Israel recently said that they would throw down and come and help India. So that is very interesting. Israel is trying to pick a fight in literally every direction. A massive blackout happened across Spain.
Portugal.
The metro, factories, communication networks, airports, road infrastructure were all left without electricity. As a result, the country experienced a transportation collapse. If you've seen it in the videos, that's ridiculous.
Over one night without power. Imagine the whole city goes down completely.
Similar problems were observed in the neighboring countries of France, Portugal, and Andorra. The exact cause was not specified, but local energy operators officially attributed the failure to a rare atmospheric phenomenon. The reality, however, seems to be much different. Such a total blackout could have occurred due to improper operation of the emergency automation and initial design flaws in the system. There's also a lot of rumors running around that this might not actually be a form of a cyber attack that caused this, but it's unfounded right now. Possibly there was a failure at the nuclear plant, and then everything went into waves due to frequency fluctuations, that the existing capacities were unable to be stabilized, including those built in Europe as part of the green transition. In a video that I was seeing, apparently Spain is going further and further away from fossil fuels and nuclear power.
That was the problem. He's
more
right.
and more into wind, water, solar, and these things, once the nuclear plant went down, were absolutely unable to handle the amount of power that was pulling from the grid. This example clearly shows the difference in approaches to a power system that was designed. The Ukrainian power grid, created during the Soviet era, despite all the losses and all the damages, withstood dozens of massive airstrikes. In Spain, everything collapsed from a single failure without a single impact. It is possible that if the energy facilities were subjected to a real attack, the region could have plunged into a pre-industrial era. Interestingly, due to the affairs in other parts of Western Europe, coincidentally, they may be facing the same thing. So, just talking about the energy thing real quick, the more the West tries to go the new Green Deal,
worse
the
it'll
more
become.
fractured and fragile our electric grids get. Now, Europe, they're gung ho on this. And as we can see just from what happened with Spain, Portugal, parts of France, the system that they've created cannot handle the load that's on it. And still, it's in the books to tear down more of the coal powered plants, to demill some of the nuclear power plants. So eventually, if the wind blows too hard, Europe will just lose power. A lot of us sit back and we may just kind of roll our eyes at this. But this type of example happened, what, in Argentina just a couple weeks ago. It's happened in places like Puerto Rico. It's happened in places like Cuba. Cuba has lost power consistently. And you got to think about, if you're there, if you're a civilian living there, what are you going to do when you lose absolute power? You have no ability to turn your lights on, no clean running water. For some people, no way to actually even cook food. The medical facilities will face an enormous challenge, especially those that are healthcare facilities, retirement homes, nursing homes, places where there's life-sustaining medical equipment that's got to stay plugged in that wall as long as there's energy going to it. So these are just some examples right now of one of the many reasons why I harp on the grid so much, and why I try to tell people all the time, do not count on your government to fix the problem instantly. The problem's not always fixed with just the throw of a fuse. You got to be thinking about the possibility that you could lose power for an extensive duration of time. If you're from the South, like where I'm from, in Hurricane Alley, in the Gulf of Mexico, which is now the Gulf of America, should be the Gulf of Texas, to be honest with you, but that's neither here nor there. But we were very, very used to losing power from tornadoes, floods, brownouts, hurricanes. But we've always had the ability, because we have such great people that are here working in the energy grid sector, the linemen, who immediately get out there, risk their lives to restore power and some sort of normality. When that goes away, when you don't have that asset, everything changes overnight. America has 1 week worth of bottled water. This entire country moves upon railroad deliveries, and I think about 80% is from trucker deliveries for any of your goods, any of your medicines, your spare parts, all that. I think like maybe 5% of it comes from the air, but then eventually someone's got to go pick it up. So in looking forward,
hey, Shorty, good to see you.
We're going to be reaching out to a couple different companies, and we're going to try and see what is some of the most practical ways for people during a sustained loss of power. What's the most practical way to survive it? What are things that you should be thinking about potentially purchasing? Now, I don't sell anything. I don't talk about any of my sponsors, which they probably hate me for that. But that's just the way we roll and operate here. You've got to make sure at all times you can take care of yourself, right? So that's one of the assets that you need to be covering in your life. Once again, I don't plan on the government to do that for me. That's why we've got our little hoard of medicine and all these other things that we need in case the power goes out. But we also have, I think,
Diane, Shawnee, that KFC thing, that was hectic.
three wood burning stoves, so we can cook on them. We can provide heat inside the house.
Yeah.
We've got propane for the oven.
And I've got a creek 1 house away from me, and it's a freshwater creek, and it's not all polluted. So you get water from there and boil it if the grid goes down.
You need to consider these things.
Yep,
right?
I do.
before everything goes down the toilet, which apparently that's the only direction this is going, do your due diligence to save up whatever you can to purchase the necessary items. I'm not telling you don't go overboard. I'm not telling you don't do the bare minimum. I'm saying be smart with your money, afford what you can, think wisely. If you have any questions about this, hey, Doug, what are some of the things that you would get? What are the things that you're looking at potentially buying? You can email us at americanvindictashow at gmail.com. I will get back to you. If you've ever emailed us, you know for a fact that typically we get back to 99% of all people, unless I've just missed your email or you just love to hate me and love to email to tell me how much you hate me. And even still, we respond to those people. All right, moving on. The mother and son who helped to expose the extermination camp in Jalisco, Mexico, have been murdered. A couple weeks ago, there was in Jalisco, Mexico, there was a compound more or less that was found that had industrial size crematories in it. Potentially hundreds to thousands of people, Mexican citizens that have been fed into these things. And this is all because the narco-terrorist state that is Mexico and the cartels. So this is an article right here about it. 2 Mexican activists who publicized a grisly extermination camp linked to an organized crime were killed on Wednesday in Jalisco, according to Mexican authorities and the advocacy organization they were affiliated with. The victims are Maria del Carmen Morales, she was 43, and her son, Jaime Daniel Ramirez Morales, who was 26, both activists for the rights of missing people in Mexico. In March, her group, Warriors Searchers of Jalisco, a group dedicated to finding missing people, announced the discovery of the Izaguar Ranch, a site with secret crematoriums and buried human remains. By buried, I mean it's mass graves. The group labeled it an extermination camp where criminals lured prospective recruits and held them against their will through, though Mexican authorities have not used that term when discussing the property. So let's discuss this part real quick. The cartels are kidnapping people and are bringing them to this location and training them. And if they either fail in their training or they try to flee or whatever reason, they have given them a reason, they're mass executing people.
Wow.
This is our neighbor. This is our southern neighbor.
Yep.
And these things happen on a daily basis. It goes under the radar until, finally a group will come out and say, hey.
Mexico's been a wild west for years. The longer it goes on, the worse it gets.
We dared to have went and searched and found it, and now we dare to talk about it. And unfortunately, this is the reality
we've done all that.
of dealing with the narco-terrorist state. Guys, I don't know how to say this any more clear than what I've been saying to y'all. We have an eventual war coming to America. The cartels will most likely be a part of it. They're already in this country. They terrorize millions of people every year. It seems like this administration is trying to do their best to do something about it, but you will never completely purge us of this until you take on this fight head on. I don't know if any government will ever do it. Right now, I'm like 2080 on thinking that maybe the Trump administration will do something about it. So until something militarily is done to rid us of this problem, you should be considering, you should be praying about it, you should be prepping, and you should be training for the reality that is a violent interaction with cartel terrorists here in America. I feel so bad for these people that this happened to them. Because one of the reasons why is you have,
Squeeze.
like, I've got a heart for the people. You've got people who are out here trying to do the right thing, trying to help out the civilians, trying to bring closure to families who have missing loved ones. And then, you know, just like that, they're gone. You know, this is a similar thing that's happened in Ukraine. I'm sure many of you have seen the videos of people just in broad daylight, a Ukrainian military van or truck will pull out with Ukrainian military guys, and they'll snatch a random man off the street and force him into their military.
Wow.
Send them to the front line where they die. If you don't think that can't happen here in America, if you don't think that is a potential, though it's happening literally on our southern border, and one of the main fights that we're funding right now, this is being involved in. I don't know, man. I pray it doesn't happen, but I expect it will. I absolutely 100% expect
Oh, yeah,
that
right.
we will have a civil war. I have no idea when it's going to happen, but this type of action, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened here in these 50 states.
Diane, I meant to stream that, didn't I? Washington's outlay.
Donald Trump says that there are loopholes that have been discussed for a third-term presidential run. It's coming from MSN, the worst of the mainstream media. He says, I have more people begging me to run again, but I haven't looked at even the possibility. He hasn't looked at even the possibility.
Why bring it
But
up?
yet he's selling a hat on his website for 2028. There's been multiple articles about it, and he's done 2 interviews talking about it. This guy talks out of both sides of his mouth. President Donald Trump addressed his recent claim that he is, quote, not joking about running for a third term in a new interim with Time magazine that was published on April 25th. Trump doubled down on his claim.
And we did hear Trump say you'll never have to vote again. We know we heard that.
That there are methods of bypassing the Constitution, telling Time magazine that loopholes have been discussed, though he does not believe in using them. Then why talk about it?
Exactly. Why bring it up?
When asked whether he would use one of the most well-known loopholes, running as vice president to J.D. Vance, who would later resign if elected, Trump dodged the question, instead taking the time to brag once again about his cognitive test results. One thing that's currently being discussed, it was at the White House press briefing that I was listening to earlier today, and you too can go and listen to it. It has Tom Homan, and him and the press secretary are talking about it. But apparently now there are conversations. I don't know to the extent of the complete validity of it, and I don't know how serious they are about it. But apparently the Trump administration may be considering suspending Article 1, Section 9 of habeas corpus due to traitors and enemy combatants that are here in America.
Diane posted that a couple of days ago, didn't you, Di?
Traitors would be, I guess, like the 2 federal judges who were recently arrested by the FBI.
Oh, there's 2 judges now. I didn't know that.
Which, me personally, I have no issues with that. I think that's the legal way to go, and I think it should be done.
Yep.
And by the way, will please somebody go and pay attention to Portland, Oregon, and start there. But with the suspension of habeas corpus, that means that American troops would be deployed here in America in a combat operation role. To what extent that would be, what would they be doing? Would they just be assisting ICE in their operation?
I think it's in your constitution. The government can't use the armed forces against the people, and that's what Clinton done with Waco and them tanks that went in there. It's a big deal because they're not supposed to use their weapons on the citizens, but they do.
For removing illegal aliens, I don't know. But I am very aware, and I do.
Diane, that's like me on my trolling sites. I troll about 7 people at once over different genres. And yeah, I did the same thing.
Understand that there are so many terror cells that are here in America that either the government is monitoring or
I argue with so many that I'll lose track on who I'm talking to.
or has caught wind of or is expecting to be here. And we're all talking about this big potential 2025 terror attack, another 9/11 style attack that would be worse than 9/11. And now the conversation of suspending habeas corpus comes about. So I'll let you take that train of thought, run it to the end of its logical conclusion, be objective, and tell me your thoughts. Do you think suspending habeas corpus to fight terror cells, violent crime, and illegal immigrants is worth it? Or do you think it should just continue to be a policing operation and we should just actually arrest everybody? What a train of thought that is. Or do you think that there should not be a suspension of habeas corpus? I mean, I'm honestly 50-50 on it. If you suspend habeas corpus, that is a slippery slope because if you can do it once, you can do it twice. It's happened a few times here in America. I believe what they're talking about is not, activating the National Guard. It's using active duty troops. So that could be very interesting. And that could be very, very risky if that actually were to occur. All right, a 24-year-old man and 6 others were 24-year-old man killed, 6 others injured in a senseless shooting at North Carolina College.
Just
Another mass shooting.
Gatorades.
1 man has died and 6 others have been injured after a shooting at the
With sugar
Elizabeth
too,
City
babe,
State University's campus in North Carolina in the early hours of Sunday, April 27th. That was yesterday. In a statement, the university announced that the incident occurred at the campus center following the Yard Fest, the final event of the historically Black university's week-long Viking Fest celebration. Interesting to say those two things in one sentence. 6 individuals were injured during the incident. 4 sustained gunshot wounds, including the ECSU students. Additionally, 2 other ECSU students were harmed as well during it. A 24-year-old man who is not a university student was pronounced deceased on the scene. His identity is being withheld, pending notification of his next kin. So I have no idea if this is something that's drug-related, gang-related, or if this is a lone wolf attacker, or if this is a terror attack. We'll just have to wait and see. But if you are a college student, if you're a university student, let me see if I got it right here. These are 2 very simple things that don't cost a lot of money. You can put them in your car. They're not exactly what I would want to use, but I spend top dollar for all of my medical gear. I got these at Academy the other day. I keep stuff like this in our cars. This is Life Gear.
Shawnee, I'm doing a lefties trial, and I'm barred for another 10 days from the Catholic trial. I'm not allowed there for 10 days to go. I love trolling, and I made myself laugh.
First aid survival, quick grab kit. It's got all your regular Band-Aids and different types of bandages, trauma pads, first aid tape. triple antibiotic ointment in case you scrape your knuckle or something. But this little trauma pack from Quick Clot is something that I think it costs $20. Very easy to be able to put, somewhere in your bag. Something that you could actually keep in a backpack. Something you should probably keep in your car. It's got Quick Clot gauze, trauma pads, some gloves in it, duct tape, triangular bandage, sterile gauzing, conforming gauze, bandage, antiseptic wipe, and trauma response instructions. So once again, it doesn't have a tourniquet in it, but you pair something like this with a tourniquet, and at least you got something. Myrtle Beach, Florida had a mass shooting on April 27th, yesterday. Shooting happened in the middle of the city's famed entertainment district as peak tourism season is ramping up. Let's see. One dead, 11 wounded.
Shawnee, the Catholics are the worst. You're very right. I can see how the Spanish Inquisition started, because even now they're calling for Protestants' blood. They're really, wow, yeah, they're really, I can see how the Spanish Inquisition started. They're very evil. They think only the Catholics' way is the way, and if you don't come their way, they're going to execute you. That's what's going on.
So one person is dead, 11 others are wounded after a gunman opened fire in the middle of a popular tourist spot in Myrtle Beach on Saturday night, according to law enforcement. Myrtle Beach Police Department shared that the shooting happened just before midnight on Saturday in the heart of the city's famed entertainment district. This is when officers noticed a disturbance involving multiple individuals. At the time, based on the immediate threat, one of our officers responded by discharging their firearm. I guess that's how the shooter got stopped. Yep, the individual shot during the officer's response died from his injuries. Florida don't joke around. If you try to hurt somebody in Florida, their police are not going to be very happy with you. Quote, our officer saw what happened, and when he saw that an altercation was taking place and a gun was being shot, the officer...
Guys, when I'm teasing the atheists, one of the ones I'd done was this. I'll show you. See that? I said, is that the missing link? That's actually... I said, is that the missing link? And they howled at me. Look at that.
Responded very quickly and, in my opinion, saved lives. So once again, it doesn't seem to be a active shooter. It's not a lone wolf gunman. It's not a terror attack. It's just a random guy with a gun gets in an altercation.
Yeah, Shawnee, I use scriptures whenever I can with these guys. I do the same.
I can only imagine alcohol's involved, and then pulls his gun. So these are some of the things that we try to teach people about using situational awareness, how to find your outs, how to find your hard cover areas, what to do if you're within close proximity to it, how to apply emergency aid to yourself and to others. You know, it's tragic to hear about these shootings, but in law enforcement, we know that the warmer it gets, the more shootings happen. The warmer it gets, the more the crazies come out. So me personally, I'm already kind of expecting this summer to be kind of chaotic. We'll read some stuff about what the left is planning here in just a few days and potentially throughout the rest of the year. Be expecting for a turbulent year.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know this, in March on the 22nd, There was another mass shooting where 3 died and 15 were injured.
Wow.
So I mean, this stuff it's not cooling down anytime soon, guys. Be prepared.
Diane posted this, or I saw it somewhere. There's been over 70 mass shootings in America since the start of this year. That's pretty. You guys like the Wild West.
All right, let's hit up our favorite gunviolencearchive.org. We'll read the stats going on so far this year in regards to gun violence.
Okay.
Homicide, murder, unintentional murder. Right now, there's been 4,511 murders this year. Total number of injuries is 7,769. This is all from gun violence. There's been 89 mass shootings this year so far. How many of those have you heard of?
There you go. I said 70. I found that out about a month ago. So you got 80 mass shootings in America in the last 4 months. That's crazy, guys. You can't sustain that. That can't keep going on.
So, by the way, the Department of Justice, FBI, and the CDC look at mass shootings as it is 3 people or more, and they describe that to be a mass shooting. Most of the mass shootings happen on the eastern seaboard. So, I mean, literally, you go from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, all the way to Maine, and that's where the majority of mass shootings happen. One of the places with the least amount of mass shootings is Wyoming, and then I think next is South Dakota, and then there's actually been kind of a little bit of a crime spree happening in Montana. Montana used to be a pretty safe place. But yeah, there's like 2 kind of safe states in America at this point in time. However you would want to consider that. So there's been 89 mass shootings this year. There's been 3 mass murders. 77 children have been killed from mass shooting. 134 have been injured. 301 have been teenagers that were killed. 793.
Is that worse? That's worse than your Vietnam numbers. Whoever went to Vietnam for the first 4 months, they didn't see all this. This is worse than the Vietnam numbers. Wow.
Teenagers that have been injured, that's between the ages of 12 and 17. Wow. Officer involved incidents this year, it's been 21 deaths. Officer that was killed or injured has been 111.
Wow.
That is not good.
It's not sustainable.
Officer involved incident where and 21 officers, have been killed this year. 111 injured.
No.
Officer involved incident where the subject was killed. 450.
You're lucky.
Subject, suspect killed or injured. We'll just say more injured has been 295. She gives me more. There's been 368 different accounts of defensive uses for people who are carrying firearms. There's been 427 unintentional shootings or negligent discharge and 196 murders that are
that thing was
also
more
suicide.
trouble than it was worth.
So
the knee thing.
2 things here.
I'm not using
defensive use this year. There's been 368 people who have used a gun to save the lives of potentially others. 427 people have either accidentally shot themselves, shot someone else, or shot their gun and gotten a buttload of trouble for it. Proper handling of firearms. It can never be shouted high enough from the top of the mountain. Know how to use your guns. Know how to fix malfunctions. Please understand basic fundamental.
Okay, Diane, I gotta confess, that's all me. That's what I do to them.
Of marksmanship and actually go out and seek the guys who are going to try.
Oh, I do that, Diane. I repetitive write fake news. When someone takes me on and they start lying, every comment they make from now on, I just print fake news, and they howl.
Training for that. We train people for that, but
I'm a bad troll, Shawnee.
If you can find someone in your local area and it's easier to afford, and instead of traveling, and go to them. get your medical training, because you're more than likely going to put a pressure bandage or a tourniquet on somebody than you ever will pull your gun.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that you won't ever. So learn how to apply medical aid, learn how to use your firearm correctly in a defensive manner, and also learn the laws of what will happen after you've discharged a firearm. You're going to get arrested. They're going to take your gun. That's when you'll be given the time to, talk to your attorney. You will most likely be taken into the county jail or city jail. You'll be processed. You'll have to make bail. All these things will happen while you're still trying to do the right thing. So I say carry some sort of gun insurance. There's so many different ones out there, and so many of them are pointing fingers at each other as who's the bad guy, who's the good group. Choose whichever one you can afford, at least have some sort of representation. I used to have USCCA, so I don't anymore. I'm probably going to someone else, but I'll let you know when I do it. If you are law enforcement, security, church security, you'll know where I'm getting this information from. It is gunviolencearchive.org.
Okay, I might check something else out. Something else I had there for her.
With ANZ Home Insurance, insuring what matters means ensuring peace of mind. Insuring the big stuff, ensure.
So I think I could actually do that well, and I'm terrible at dancing. So now, of course, some people are wondering what's going on. I'm wondering what happened to Katy Perry after her Blue Origin flight. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're actually not going to just talk about her, but actually numerous people. We have sort of a change around us. Have we entered into the Twilight Zone? We're seeing a lot of interesting stuff happen around us. We have, of course, Dr. Phil, completely a different man. Seemingly, we have some clips of him. We have Katy Perry. You're not going to believe this clip of Katy Perry. Oh my goodness, it's just ridiculous.
I've seen a clip and it is bizarre. It's really mad.
I'll show it to you in a little bit. We have also ministers falling left and right again. We have predictions, strange ones coming true, and a ton of other stuff. Let's just get into this. We'll start with Katy Perry here. Katy Perry reportedly regrets the public spectacle she made of her Blue Origin space ride after receiving widespread backlash, which she found unexpected and disheartening. Of course, she's trying to cope. She's trying to tell you it was all about love and kumbaya.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that
the unity. 4 chicks in a missile. The unity. This is dumb stuff. No wonder it's gone on the back foot.
weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future.
Okay. You went on a 10 minutes, wasn't even 10 minutes, 10-second space ride. What are you talking about, man? Oh my goodness gracious. I think she was in space for 10 seconds, whatever it was. You know what I mean? It was very short. It's hardly even worth looking up to see how long it was. All right. Katy Perry addresses online hates. An emotional note to fans. Please know I'm okay. She's completely okay, my friends. That's why she looks like this in this latest video. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. That's some great dance moves. I think I could actually do that well. And I'm terrible at dancing. So Now,
I never knew he was such a smart ass. That was funny.
of course, some people are wondering what's going on. I mean, she's doing these really kind of, is this dance moves? What is this? It's like she's just making up stuff. Like when you're drunk at the bar or something and you just try to do some karaoke. Kind of reminds people of that. I don't know, man. Some are saying that maybe she was replaced by an alien when she went up into space on the Blue Origin rockets. Honestly, maybe that is the case, considering some of these my goodness gracious, dude. She's literally doing, oh my goodness, what? Those are not moves. I don't know what that is, but that is totally not
dancing.
Clearly not professional.
Yeah, it's
not even remotely skilled. I don't know what that was, but that's apparently her latest act. It reminded me of Ray Gun in the Olympics. You remember this? Honestly, Ray Gun's better. Ray Gun got a 0 out of 0 or 0.
Yeah, she's an Aussie, guys. I think it was funny what she done.
Out of 10. There's an oldest. Yeah, she got a 0 out of 10. Remember this whole thing? That was competing against
She was taking the piss out of all the Olympics. That's what she was doing.
Actual breakdancers. She looks like she has probably about 10 times the skill of Katy Perry while getting 0s out of 10s at the Olympics. So just to give you an idea of where we're at. So that's what's going on with Katy Perry. We actually have a lot to go over in this video. I showed these clips of Dr. Phil over on my other channel. We're going to just go through them pretty quickly because some of you have probably already seen them if you watch my other channel. But if you haven't seen them, even if you've seen them, you'll want to see them again. I was laughing my head off like the 5th time watching some of them. So I'm going to show you those in a minute. And we're going to get into actually a number of strange things going on around us. You got this Antichrist figure claiming to do miracles. We're not even really going to talk about him because he's, well, I would call it, a joke. But there's a lot of channels. Oh my goodness. The dude is, from what I understand, just to give you a little background of that dude, apparently he actually tried to expose a cult when he was younger. So back in his 20s or something, he tried to infiltrate into one of these cults and he tried to expose it. He ended up getting sued by the cult. And then that's when he realized something. This is kind of my guess of what happened. The guy's like, oh my goodness, they make tons of money and you can't even expose them. What a great idea. Why don't I start my own cult? I got to first perfect the whole craft and then I'll come out as the Mahdi. That's basically what's going on here. All right, we'll get into that. I guess, we just got into it. But that's about all I got to say about the dude. But it is, actually, we're going to talk about the fact that it happened right after Easter, right after the Pope died, because that is very interesting. But first, I'm going to mention Food Supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description, 3 months worth for $4.97. Lowest price since I've offered this the entire time I've been on YouTube. Go check it out. Link is in the description. You never know what's next. You've seen how wonderful the world's been over the last few years. It's always wise to be prepared for whatever's next. Whatever Twilight Zone thing they want to go put, whatever episode they want to put us in next, right? Link is in the description. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. You might soon hear as well. Hopefully not, but it's always wise to be prepared. Like I said, $37. Get the printed version. Link is in the description for that as well. Also, all my social medias, link below. My website, deep dives into a lot of awesome topics. Link is in the description for that also. It's cheaper than Starbucks coffee at this point because my prices are lower than that, literally. I mean, prices of things in the stores are getting kind of expensive and also in restaurants. At any rate, so let's get back to Phil. So we have here Dr. Phil. Apparently, he's also been replaced by an alien of some sort, although this is a good one. Honestly, no, I think he's just changed. He's gotten sick of all the garbage. He's doing a lot better than Katy Perry. Let's just put it that way. He's doing really awesome, actually. Check this out.
I don't think Bill Maher saw that one coming.
What I think we disagree a lot on is that you think family and faith are a big fix to the problems we have. I mean, I don't have a family, and I definitely don't have faith.
I've been watching this guy, Bill Maher, is that his name? He's turning Trump. He's turning to Trump. He's on Foxtel a lot.
So you're definitely not part of the solution.
I don't think.
So, of course, I thought that was pretty interesting. He says, you're definitely not part of the solution. And he's laughing while he's saying it, which kind of leads into all the rest that he does, because he just completely dunks like hard on Bill Maher after this. And I'll show you two clips that make it very clear that is the case. Check this one out here. Let's play this one.
Well, no. That's for the love of God, Bill, just give up. Your retarded little stance on everything. It's so tiresome. I'm a cool guy. Listen to me. Smoke pot. Suck off a guy. Enough.
What? What? Say that again, Dr. Phil.
Case. Check this one out here. Let's play this one.
Well, no. That's for the love of God, Bill, just give up. Your retarded little stance on everything. It's so tiresome. I'm a cool guy. Listen to me. Smoke pot. Suck off a guy. Enough.
Oh, did you hear that? It's off the guy? Oh, wow. Wow. Good on you, Dr. Phil.
Oh, my goodness. And you actually heard almost for a second there, or millisecond, you heard some people almost in the crowd. I heard a...
Diane, I wonder who's going to put in Alcatraz. Political prisoners? That'd be a good place for him.
A little bit of it when he said he was retarded, which because you can't, like, you just can't picture Dr. Phil saying these things. So when he says them, you're like, what?
Yeah.
But actually, that's not the worst thing he said to him. That was actually just the beginning. And you can see it on Bill Maher's face that he's expecting it. Check this out.
Shut your mouth, Bill. Shut your mouth. I'm trying to tell you here that everyone knows what you're up to. Your job is to take clinically insane lefties and de-radicalize them to a degree. It's not working, obviously. I don't think you have an understanding of what you and your colleagues have created here. Let me put it to you this way. You've basically created an old Yeller situation. But
that's not the first time Bill Maher's heard that as well.
Of course, he's referring to the fact with the story of Old Yeller, if you remember that, they had to put the dog down because he had rabies. And he's saying that basically those on the left, are like Old Yeller, they have rabies. And you can't solve the problem by just trying to talk some common sense into him. So he goes on to say that he's actually opening a clinic to help these people.
A coward like we all suspected. Here's what I'm getting at. We can't just ghost people. So I will be opening up a mental health ranch for the criminally insane. I'm going to take these people.
Look at his face. He's like, what? He's like, he can't even believe what he said. Like, you're saying they're all crazy. So, of course, Dr. Phil obviously on a little bit of a tear. He also interviewed RFK, what was it? Day before yesterday on his Dr. Phil show. And I played a bunch of clips over there. I'm not going to play them all over here. I'm going to play one because it kind of shows you where we were at as a country. It's kind of interesting. He's talking about the former administration and what they did on day one when they got in there.
Yeah.
Talking back, what was it, over 4 years ago?
Sean, in Trump's first term, he rebuilt I can't even say it, Gitmo. He put a lot of extra wings in it, as far as I know.
Oh. Where they were starting to work directly with social, media, and they were blocking him. They were trying to stop him, and he actually sued them over it. He sued the former administration over it. Check this out.
Iced latte your way with Nespresso's wide range of exceptional coffees. Layered, shaken, or
Oh, they do look like nice coffees.
stirred. Nothing tastes like Nespresso. Discover these recipes and more at Nespresso.com.
Juggling all of life can be a lot. So, when it comes to writing or updating your will, let New South Wales Trustee and Guardian make your will one less thing. Wales says book an appointment today.
Super savers at super cheap order. Save 20% on the RM Williams seat cover range.
TAFE New South Wales will help you shape the future of manufacturing with fully subsidised micro skills in advanced, heavy industry and net zero manufacturing. Enrol for free today. Search TAFE New South Wales Manufacturing Centres of Excellence.
And yes, we're on. The tent is in play. We know where we'll go. The throw is good.
And we now have the emails between him and Mark, between this group and Mark Zuckerberg and other people at Twitter, et cetera, which Elon, made public. And thank God for him. And I don't think we'd have free speech in this country if it wasn't for Elon Musk, because
honestly, I agree with him. Even if you want to dunk on Elon, I mean, he's not obviously a perfect guy, just like our president's not a perfect guy in any way, shape, or form. And actually, I'm going to have some critique of him in a minute here. But God is still using these people. You know what I mean? God uses these people to get things done in the right direction. And him buying X was actually a very good thing. A lot of people don't realize or appreciate that. Honestly, they really don't. And we have predictions from this man here that are now coming true that I'm going to show you now. This is kind of interesting. I'm trying to remember what clip this is here. Let's just play it and we'll see.
Or is it that possibly the Spirit of God will cause many to fall in fall?
He's got a few on what's going to happen this year. I might look him up.
So that clip is from 2014, June 14th. He's referring to what's going to happen this year. Honestly, that's what he's referring to. And he's talking about those at the top. And we're talking in the church, in society, in government, in just everything. Particularly those that are leaders are going to be falling, of course, in the fall, this fall. And there's a lot of predictions surrounding this year from April until the fall. It's going to be really crazy from April to the fall. We're already seeing it. We got this guy claiming to be like some Messiah or whatever, right? Which I find very interesting because God is supposed to be bringing forth a person in this time, and it's clearly not this guy, that is supposed to help lead our country the right direction. And it's not that dude at all. Guaranteed you that. I can guarantee you that. But it makes sense the devil will bring forth his guy at the same time, because the devil wants to bring forth his guy and wants you to choose him, not the one. And when I say God's man, I mean just like a David figure, like a sort of a Pharaoh, kind of like a Daniel or a Joseph figure, not someone claiming to be God, obviously, right? There's only one God. Jesus is him. And so what's interesting, though, is we're going to be seeing a lot of strange things this year. And he talks about many falling in the fall. But from what all the other people are predicting is it's going to be from April to the fall. The first one was Pope Francis. And we're also seeing a lot of ministers falling all of a sudden. True. We have a new one from a few days ago, Michael Brown. And actually,
T.D. Jakes stood down. I think Diane posted that.
This is something I've been expecting because, of course, those on the Calvinist side were for years and years, for a decade, more than a decade even, we're talking about all these bad prosperity preachers and, oh, look how terrible they are. They're always in scandals. Now it's happening to those people, the Calvinists, all those that are kind of in the John MacArthur camp. You had a number of them that were underneath him. Actually, there's two people directly underneath him at his highest level. Steve Lawson was one of them that got caught. And now we have a new one in the same. Well, this guy's sort of in the middle. He's kind of like charismatic and Calvinist. He's like in the middle. He's like on the fence. His name is Michael Brown, and he got caught. All right, kind of very similar to Steve Lawson. Here, check this out. This is from, I think, one of the men. This is the husband of one of the women who he apparently had a relationship with. We're talking Michael Brown had a relationship with.
And then where it really starts is this hand-holding
guy
incident
on the
that
right.
you witnessed, I believe, that she says happened all the time. And so these are the allegations. This is what's happening. Mike Brown has admitted to some of these things and said, you know, it keeps minimizing.
Did he, Shawnee? I didn't know that. I'm pretty sure he gives a paper rap. That's why I've never played him.
By saying 23 years ago, trying to distance it. But the real issue here is that these things were also confronted over the years and pushed aside. So I want to get the story from.
So what's interesting about it is all this stuff has been coming out in the last year. You've had Bickle, you had Ravi Zacharias, which the Ravi Zacharias one's a little bit different. I kind of think that they're.
Wow, what about what happened to Ravi Zachariah? He went all perverted. Wow, that was crazy.
Might not have been. Like, I don't know if all that's been said there is true in that case, but there's a lot of these people, Tony Evans, Steve Lawson, a lot of these guys are all in that realm. You know, back 20 years ago when you listened to the radio, listen to church on radio, we're talking those people, okay? A lot of those people are the ones being caught that have been around for a long time. And here's another one, Michael Brown. And this is apparently one of so there's like more than one woman actually. This is the husband of the second one, okay? The one on the right.
Your vantage point, give us from day one when you first see this happen to the point where, I mean, you have a detailed X post, I believe John Lambert put it out, that you had put on Facebook. It's like step by step, but I want you to walk us through that process all the way to 2020, because I was refreshing on things and I went, oh my gosh, he literally had a confrontation again in 2020 with Dr. Michael Brown, and this will surprise people what the response was, to the point where now what he admitted to and what he lied about, and how you caught him with the situation where he said he had the lump in his throat because you were confronting him about the other woman, not just Sarah. So, man, I'll let you.
So it's obviously that's a long video. It's an hour and 17 minutes. You can go check it out on this channel here, Wake Up and Win podcast. But he's interviewing the guy there. So a lot of this has been admitted to, and like I said, there's been numerous of these ministers of recent. And what I'm trying to point out is this was predicted. I talked about how last year we went from the age of the red dragon to the age of the white dragon. So we're in a new, of course, age. Now, our president calls it the golden age, right? And so I think that's sort of prophetic in of itself, but I don't think our president knows what he's doing, okay? Like, what I mean by that is, I feel like God's kind of leading him while he's not being led by him, if that makes sense. I don't believe he's a believer, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he actually is a believer, and I'll show you the evidence in a minute here because of his recent National Day of Prayer. But what's interesting is there's another guy named Troy Black who predicts a lot of things accurately here on YouTube. He predicted he wasn't a believer as well, and then a few days later, the National Day of Prayer, and they did an interfaith thing where they had Muslim, Jew, and Christian all together praying to the same God, which is not true. They're not the same. It's not the same God. They're all worshiping a different God. Okay, they're not the same God. But like I said, we have all these different ministers. Check this out.
There have been a lot of scandals involving prominent Christians recently, and the recent scandal.
I think it's funny he puts Joel Osteen on the screen. Okay, so this channel is Mike Stories. He keeps changing the name of his channel. This guy, I think he used to be called Reformed Wiki a long time ago. He's a Calvinist. And all the people that are getting exposed recently are all Calvinists, for the most, not all of them, but quite a few. A lion's share, we'll say lion's share. It's just funny that he put Joel Osteen on there because I think what he's been used to doing for so many years is just exposing prosperity ministers all the time. That it's like kind of weird. He's exposing his own people on his own side now. So he's throwing Joel Osteen in there. It's just funny. But it's not, I mean, I'm just saying my point is that Calvinists thought they had all the answers and they didn't have all the answers. Because if they did have all the answers, God wouldn't be making them all fall. A lot of them fall right now. A lot of them are falling right now because their doctrine's bad and their teaching's bad and it's leading people astray and there's hypocrisy in the ranks. And again, this comes back to scripture 2,000 years ago when the King of Kings walked the earth. He talked about the religious leaders, saying they were whitewashed tombs. They were hypocrites. They look good on the outside wearing the suits. I don't wear a suit. I hate wearing suits unless it's like a wedding or something. They wear a suit. They get up front. They look perfect. They got the nice dress on. They say all the right words. But their life is not what they say, right? And then they get caught. It catches up to them eventually. This is what's happened with a lot of these people. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot. You even had Robert Morris, so another guy used to be on the radio. I mean, there's like all these people. There's like a million of them. Like every time you turn around, there's a new one. It's like every week or 2 weeks. That's why I end up keep making videos about these people. It's because there's so many new ones all the time. Paula White, who's the head of the faith office for our president. She also had numerous scandals of her own with money or also with men, as in the case of Benny Hinn, who of course is on the prosperity side or charismatic or what do you want to call it.
Insuring the big stuff, ensuring the little thing.
Benny Hinn come up with something last night. I didn't even bother looking at it.
ANZ Home Insurance. Insurance that insures.
Insurance that insures.
However you warm up, NG has got a hot energy deal for you. Get 28% off our gas supply and usage charges when you switch your gas to NG Saver. Great value and staying cozy. With NG, it's possible.
Take the leap, grab a paddle, ride the wave. The best
Elastoplast protective support
Bloody hell.
with dynamic pain guard, providing 360.
What? But she was in a relationship allegedly with him. Apparently they even admitted it to some respects. They're holding hands there, as you can see. And that's what just happened to this guy, Dan Brown. He was holding hands with these women, doing more than that, obviously, because if they're holding hands in public, you know there's something probably more than going on. I mean, it's not rocket science. I hope I don't have to explain that to you. I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. But the fact is, Paula White is head of the faith office, and she's leading the National Day of Prayer. And what is she doing? She's including Muslims, Jews, and Christians all together in a united prayer, which is not.
Wow, look at that. Wow.
Correct.
It's not a religious act. It's a national necessity.
Well, yeah, of course, I agree. Prayer is a national necessity, but you got to do it correctly. You don't just pray to whatever random thing you want to pray to. You got to pray to the actual correct God, for one. That's a big, important deal. Thank you, our president, for ensuring Muslim American inclusion in today's National Day of Prayer events. Moving interfaith events.
Man.
Abrahamic faith. This doesn't understand. He's made comments about this, thinking they're the same.
Okay, if you're on Facebook, I'll go trolling him.
God. They're not. So he identifies as Christian, but then he says it's the same God between the three religions. It's not the same God. Muhammad's God came actually from his parents. If you look at his parents' last name, his father, it had the moon god.
You know what I get him with? The Muslims. Allah's got 2 right hands and only 1 leg. That's true. That's what they say. Allah's got 2 right hands and only 1 leg. And when I mock him, I say, when he goes swimming, does he swim in a circle? And they get the shits with me.
God in the last name. And at that time in history, in Mecca, they had numerous gods they worshipped in that area which they all worship currently in, the one where they have the Kaaba stone, right? They had numerous gods in that area. What Muhammad did is he basically got rid of all the other gods and just exalted the one from his own family. That's what he did. It's not the same God. And of course, I mean, we don't have to get into, but obviously if they don't accept Jesus, it's not the same religion. It's not the same God. All right? Because remember, in the Old Testament, you saw the nation of Israel get off track by worshiping false gods.
Yep.
So it's not the same religion. All right? You have what's interesting, of course, about Kim Clement here is he's predicted so many things correctly. It's kind of amazing. I don't like playing his long videos because I remember in the old days people would play his long videos, and I just don't have time to sit through it and listen and figure out where he says something. I want to see exactly what he said for what time when. And here's an interesting one here from February 22nd, 2014. Actually, I had another one too. Where did it go? Here it is. I wanted to play this one first. Is this the one? No, let's just do this one first. So, well, first let me do this. I'm going to back up. Let's get back to Paula White. So, of course, I mentioned about the interfaith thing here, right? You can see Paula White right here in yellow, praying with the Muslim. Now, as I mentioned before, there's a prophet named Mark, of course, Taylor, who talked about her. He made a prediction years ago. When was this? 2021.
He made one prediction and that's it. And anyone could have guessed that.
About Paula White. And here it is. And I've shown it before on screen.
Oh,
see if I can get it on the screen right. I got a lot of different. Let me try to get it right here. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the Spirit of God says another betrayal from the president's spiritual advisory board has taken place. Jezebel whispers, "It's complete. We have the king's ear. I control who speaks to the king. No true prophet of the living God will ever reach him. Only my soothsayers will speak. The betrayer sits at the king's table." And of course, this is referring to Paula White. So she is being designated as a Jezebel in this prediction. And as you can see, you can already see the evidence. She also was asking for $1,000 at Passover so that you could get blessings. Like God needs you to give her money to get blessings in your life. Obviously, you don't
and $1,000
need to give anybody money to get blessings from God. But she was saying pretty ridiculous promises in her pitch, saying that you'll have angels guiding you and around you and stuff like that. I'm like, how is me giving you $1,000 going to give me angels around me? I really don't believe that. That's not really scriptural, right? So of course, interestingly, like I said, our president, even if he isn't a believer, God is using him. And there's a number of predictions about him from Kim Clement. And one is about gold. This is kind of interesting here.
Surely you would show me a little bit of it closer to the time. And the Spirit of God said to me, this man has a humble stature, but he is a genius. And then I heard gold. I wasn't sure if this was attached to his name.
Okay, Sean,
He
good
said to
night.
me, he will restore
God bless
the fortunes in this nation.
And he will. And I've seen a lot of very intelligent people that don't understand how what is currently going on will work and how it will bring this to pass. My background is mechanical engineering, manufacturing. I've also done a lot of business in my life. And so I understand what he's doing. It's kind of amazing because I've seen people that are like tech geeks. I've seen investors, and they just don't get what he's doing. It's kind of amazing. But here's an interesting thing. There's also another clip of Kim Clement saying that when gold rises, there's some prediction with that as well. And that's when everything will start. And here's when he said that the golden rule of negotiating and success, he who has the gold makes the rules. He said this around Easter, and that's when everything is to kick off. That's when we saw Pope Francis, of course, pass away. And just to give you an idea, I just found this one today. One of his predictions that actually is coming true also, or is going to come true. Check this out.
The auto industry of this nation shall rise, and they shall disappoint the expectations of the East.
Oh my goodness. You know, I can see that. I've been talking about this. I've been using this as an example in my videos. I said, once these tariffs from China towards America are shrunk down to nothing, we will be able to sell cars into China and other countries. All these countries have tariffs against us, so we can't sell anything anywhere. We only can sell to Americans mostly. Once all these tariffs against our country are lifted, we will be able to sell worldwide. So GM, Ford, whatever, Chrysler, Stellantis now, they can sell 2, 3, 4, 5 times as many cars in the future, which will obviously make them rise. They'll be making a lot more money, and also the price of cars will come down so that you can afford them again. Now, it's amazing. I saw this guy named Louis Rossmann. I've watched him many times before. He's a computer geek. He owns a computer Apple repair shop, and he did an entire video on why tariffs won't work. And I watched just a little bit, and I could see where he's making all his errors. He doesn't understand business. He doesn't understand how this stuff works. He may be super smart at working on computers. He might be extremely intelligent, but he doesn't understand this. And it just shows you how it doesn't matter if you're smart in one area. It doesn't mean you're going to understand something in another area, right? Unless you fully grasp everything about it. And what's interesting is we already have car companies coming back to America where they're building more factories. Stellantis is opening 2 closed factories, making a new factory. Honda is coming back. You got Apple bringing $500 billion worth of business back to America. LG, Samsung, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. In the next 2 years, you're going to see this turnaround. And China will give in, because if they didn't, it would be insane. If you lost your job, no, I don't need a job. I'm going to sit here all day and do nothing. That's basically what they're trying to pretend like they're going to be doing. China will give in, period. Because now it's not just America, but India and some other big countries, I can't speak, countries that have put tariffs on them. And this is going to force them to lower their tariffs so that they can start selling again, because they're not selling anything right now. They're imploding. You think a country is going to just sit there and implode? Of course not. The reason why he's talking the way he is because he has a legacy. Xi Jinping has a legacy, and he wants to pretend like he's still more powerful than he is. That's the only reason he's talking the way he is. Anyway, I'm going to get into more on my other channel. Kind of want to know what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comments as well. And thanks for watching.
I'm just going for a break.
Life still
Have a
goes
break. Have a Kit
on.
Kat.
I can't handle living by my side.
You remember The Simpsons and their predictions, but this one here is a little different. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're actually going to talk about a number of things in this video, but I wanted to start it off with this strange thing I saw on someone else's channel, and we'll get into it in a second. We're going to talk about sort of a prediction for McDonald's, believe it or not. Okay, McDonald's, really? I don't know if it's really real, but it does seem strangely like it is. And I'm going to show you that in a second here. We're also going to get into actually a number of other predictions as well. We're going to also talk about kind of what's going on in our culture where we're seeing pretty much everyone go crazy. For example, this story here, which I'm sure a lot of you have already seen. There's also other ones. You have Hassan and Ethan Klein fighting over, of course, who's correct. We're talking Israel, the whole Middle East thing. There's a lot of things like this. We're going to get into in this video. AOC being called out. At any rate, so let's just get going. We'll start with this here. So this is from Jacob Israel's channel. He's talking about how he saw this strange McDonald's tweet, 5.5, like 5.5 on a Richter scale or something. And notice the shape of the chicken. It's very long. As you can see, it has sort of a long, slender shape, which kind of looks like the country Chile. And it says 5.5. Like Richter scale, of course. And of course, what happened? Shortly after that, Chile, 7.4 magnitude quake triggers, tsunami alerts. Okay, that's a little strange. I guess that's just a weird coincidence that they would put out a, tweet that looked like this, that just seemingly relates in some respect. I guess it's nothing. It's just a weird coincidence, right? The tweet was put out like a week before it happened. So it makes you wonder. Obviously,
in one breath, they say they're trying to observe the atmosphere and the environment to make things better, but in another breath, the device itself heats the atmosphere.
It seems very nefarious to me, if you ask me. And then they can use global warming as a reason to take away your freedom.
Yeah, exactly. They can take away whatever they want with this type of technology. And we just saw this weird post from McDonald's with a chicken nugget the shape of chili with a like 5.5 magnitude written on it, which is a very bizarre advertisement. And then, of course, a week later, a 7.4 Richter scale earthquake off the coast of Chile happens. And of course, this man on the screen, Eric